Namaskaram, good morning, and welcome to WishwaTalks. My name is Radhika. It's a great pleasure to have you all here. For those of you who attended a WishwaTalk before, a warm welcome back. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, here's a little bit about Vishwa. Vishwa Talks is a free weekly webinar where experts come to share their insights on a wide range of topics. We invite speakers from various fields, including art and culture, healthcare, ecology and environment, education, and more. Here, we discuss and explore diverse opinions, issues, problems, and perspectives. Each webinar is an interactive session with a deeper understanding of the topic at hand. So if you miss any part of the session and if you would like to go through the previous sessions, please visit our website or WishwaTalks YouTube channel for a full library of past WishwaTalks. So today, we are honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Ms. Padmaja, who is fondly recognized as environment and evangelist due to her immense work in the field of environment. Padmaja is known for her warmth and dedication, serving as Charter Secretary of Rotary Club of Abhyuday, Hyderabad. She holds a mechanical engineering degree from Srinidhi Institute of Science and Technology and a postgraduate diploma with dual specialization in marketing and operations from Kirloskar Institute of Advanced Management Studies. Her career focuses on automobile sector, especially in heavy commercial vehicle industry, with significant roles at Ashok Leyland and Tata Motors. Padmaja has expertise in international operations, brand strategy, product development, and channel management. Beyond her professional accomplishments, Padmaja is fondly recognized as environment evangelist due to her dedication to preserving our planet, which is evident through her involvement in numerous sustainable projects. Few projects include electronic waste drives, Save the House Sparrow, and End Plastic Soup. She combines her passion for community service with her marketing acumen, making her a force of positive change. Padmaja is married to Naga Suresh, a propulsion scientist at DRDO, and they have twin boys, Shanmukh and Sumukh. Her life reflects a balance of professional dedication, environment advocacy, and personal happiness. So, today, before we get started, I would like to inform the audience that our speaker will be taking the questions from you after the main talk. So, please leave your questions in the chat or use raise hand tool, and we will allow you to ask your question in person. I request everyone to turn on your webcams for interactive activities. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Ms. Padmaja and learn more about e-waste management and its current scenario in India and in global. Over to you, ma'am. You're speaking on mute.
Thanks, Radhika. That was a very generous introduction. I welcome all the participants this morning. I know it means a lot to join a Saturday morning, which is supposed to be a weekend relaxing. And at 11 a.m. sharp, you're all here. I'm so glad you're here. And I would like to begin my talk with a video. Over to Well, I think Julia Roberts has set the context for this talk. She has beautifully put it across. Well, as I begin to share my screen and take you through a PPT, I would like to first begin by saying one thing. Let's not make this a mere talk. Let's make it interactive. You can type your responses in the chat box, please. I will look at the responses and we can make this session interactive. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Yeah. So first of all, again, a warm welcome to my talk, Erase E-Waste, Create Wealth from Filth. Well, of all the waste streams, why is e-waste picking up so much attention these days? Prime Minister Narendra Modi also in his recent Man Ki Baat talk has highlighted the issue of e-waste. If you notice, there are a few very alarming facts about e-waste. There are 800 personal computers being discarded every second. we have so far accumulated 16.5 million tons of electronic waste as per 2023 statistics. According to United Nations, each person on an average is generating 8 kgs of e-waste. So what does all of this mean? The recycling rates are less than 17.5% globally. Even Europe, that leads the world in e-waste recycling, is recycling only 54% of their e-waste. So where is all the rest of the waste landing up? Firstly, they don't leave our homes. Most of the e-waste is still feel precious to us. We consider electronic gadgets as precious as our gold or silver articles. They're languishing in our drawers for a long time. Do you agree? Yes. So they're there for most of the time. And even if they're commonly mistaken as common trash. And they end up in our regular trash bins and they ultimately end up in the landfill. So what is happening to the e-waste that is getting dumped in the landfills? What kind of impacts is it creating on human health, on environment, and what kind of consequences does this e-waste mean to us and for future generations? What is individuals collectively like you and I do to tackle e-waste? So I will take you through a short presentation which will involve some facts and figures and the health hazards and the environmental risk it poses. And as a Rotarian from the Rotary Club, what are the activities that we have done to tackle this problem? Well, can you see this picture? What do you see? What kind of e-waste do you see in here? Well, this is an alarming state of electronic waste that usually ends up in the landfill or at an electronic waste dumping yard. Please keep this picture in your mind, sink it into your heart. Please remember this. We will come back to this picture a little later. Well, this poster is released on the International E-Waste Day, which is celebrated on 14th October. So, can you just type what electronic gadgets do you see in this picture? Can you quickly name a few? Well, phone, headphones, radio, very nice, speakers, charger, mobile, watch, radio. Well, yes, you're right in there. There is a doorbell. If you see an electronic doorbell, there is a radio or a transistor. There is a headgear. There is an AC. There is a lamp. And the person lying down is using a mobile phone. There is a cable, a charging cable. There is a remote. There is a Wi-Fi router. And there is also a toy, an electronic toy. See, e-waste is largely called invisible waste because for us, electronic waste largely means mobile phones or at the max, it means remote controls or, personal computers that go out of, that go to repair. So only those we consider as e-waste. But it is largely invisible. It is present in a lot of other forms than we actually consciously see it. The regular batteries that you toss into the dustbin, that is also an electronic waste. And the technology is so invasive and prevalent in our lives right now that even small toys that the kids play with have some or the other electronics embedded in it. So International E-Waste Day has this tagline saying you can recycle anything with a plug, battery, or a cable. So it's very easy to remember. Your lampshades, your waffle makers, your ovens, your kitchen appliances, it could be anything, your refrigerators, or you look around you in your room right now and you can find a lot of e-waste. And this is largely invisible. And that's why it languishes in our drawers for a very, very long time. So the mantra is very simple. Anything that you find that has a plug, battery, or a cable, it can be recycled. So you can keep it aside for recycling. And why should you give anything for recycling at all? Why should it not be thrown into the regular dustbin? Now let's go further. Well, what is e-waste? E in e-waste stands for both electrical as well as electronics equipment. So it refers to discarded, recycled, or a refurbished electrical or an electronic product. Well, if you see the items listed under the e-waste, um, well, I must say, Government of India has done a lot of policy changes in terms of handling electronic waste. Right in 2011, when the government made a policy, it covered only 21 items under electronic waste. It largely categorized into three categories. The waste is either personal computers, IT and telecommunication equipment, or small appliances and large appliances. But if you notice the Electronic Waste Management Rules 2022, the recent rules, enormous number of changes have been brought in. Right now, 106 items are listed under e-waste. A few of them I have listed here. For example, your vacuum pumps, your printers, cartridges, television, radios, the old DVD and CD players, which are still there in my drawer and as well as my parents' drawers. Parents' house also has a lot of these kind of obsolete technology. We don't just throw them away. We love them so much, we dust it and keep them in the loft very safely all the time. There are microwaves, lamps, chargers, your tablets, kitchen appliances, computer cords, cell phones, batteries, and not just that, in the recent budget also in the past couple of years, a lot of emphasis is present on the clean and renewable energy, due to which the solar photovoltaic cells, the solar panels, all this is also largely covered under electronic waste. So right now, the policy covers 106 items under the e-waste. And why are we bothered about what is covered under the policy? Just because if you have any of this waste, you can hand it over to a recycler who was registered under Central Pollution Control Board, and he can recycle all these items. Well, let me bring your attention to some very pressing facts about electronic waste. As I just mentioned earlier, in 2021, the amount of waste produced is equivalent or a little higher than the heaviest planet object on the planet, which is the Great Wall of China. But how did it all start? In 2016, when the United Nations started encountering a massive increase in number of cases being registered for cancer or for bronchitis, for several kinds of nervous disorders, they they started paying attention to the source of these diseases. And one of the main reason is the electronic waste that is being accumulated. In 2016, the United Nations quickly computed and said, oh my God, we have produced waste that is equivalent to the weight of 4,500 Eiffel Towers. And in 2018, the United Nations again said, oh no, we have created a tsunami of e-waste. And right here, we are in 2021, saying we have generated more than the Great Wall of China, the amount that is heavier than the Great Wall of China. So if only 17.5% of it is recycled, where is the rest of it going? Is it entering the food web through air, water, and soil? Is it destroying the ecosystem? Is it harming the humans? Is it harming the marine life? What is it doing? Well, if we look at some facts about India, we rank third in e-waste generation, next only to China and the United States of America. Well, if we rank third, which state or which city do you think is producing the largest amount of e-waste? Can you type in the chat box? Any guesses here? Bangalore, good guess. Any more? Well, Bengaluru is definitely in the top 10 producing fantastic. I guess it's Suresh who said Mumbai. Mumbai is the right answer. Mumbai ranks first. We take pride in calling it the business capital of the country. There are a lot of corporates and banking industry that is present in Mumbai, and all of it is creating a lot of e-waste. Mumbai ranks the highest, and Maharashtra is the first state that produces the largest e-waste. And cities like Noida, Bengaluru, Hyderabad are all in the top 10 e-waste producing cities in the country. So, government has taken this initiative, and the first recycling plant that is set up in Bengaluru, headquartered in Bengaluru, is the Cerebra Green plant, which recycles electronic waste in a very eco-friendly manner. Well, now moving through, I want you to focus on three important components that make up a e-waste. For example, you take anything, probably right now you're logged in through your computers or through your mobile phones. Just look at it and think, what could it be made of? One is, it definitely has toxic waste materials. I will help you remember it very easily. LCMN. I call it the LCMN. It has lead, chromium. What does M stand for? N for nickel. Sorry, mercury, which is the most dangerous of all the metals. So there's lead, there's mercury, there is nickel, there's chromium. These are highly toxic in nature. Apart from that, it has flame retardants, it had chlorofluorocarbons, it has a lot of furans, which are again ozone depleting, and they're also huge contributors for climate change, because they are called greenhouse gases. So all this is present in your just small tinily packed good looking electronic gadgets. And it also has precious metals. Well, we have to pay attention here. When I say precious metals, can you imagine, it has gold in it? Gold, silver, palladium, copper, iron. There are many types of precious metals that are present in the electronic waste. So if we can recycle these electronic gadgets and kind of extract the precious metals, there is a lot of pressure that is caused due to you know uh, pressure on this precious metals will come down. We can extract a lot of precious metals from the e-waste and put it back into the circular economy. Instead of ripping apart the planet and digging and pulling out ores, India is one of the largest importers of gold. And you will be shocked to know that a virgin ore, a 1 ton of virgin gold ore has lesser gold than a 1 ton of personal computers waste. So if you can imagine what kind of impact we can make, it can really ease out the pressure on natural resources. And also there is plastic and other metals that are present. Every electronic gadget on an average has 21% of plastic in it. So toxic waste has hazardous metals, and there are precious metals which can be mined and put it back into the circular economy, and plastic that can be shredded and reused. Well, if you look at the toxic waste, I told you there's mercury, there's lead, there's chromium, there's nickel. What kind of impacts are they creating? In a nutshell, if I have to say, they are hazardous chemicals causing acute respiratory problems. Like they cause bronchitis, they are causing lung cancers, and they are also having a lot of neurological impact. They are causing cognitive disorders in children. And also there is risk of cancer in a very high, at a very young age. But if I have to dwell deeper, what do each of these chemicals or the constituents actually have an effect on? Please go through this table. There is the solder in printed circuit boards, glass panels and gaskets, and computer monitors. All of this has lead in it. What does it do? It damages the central and peripheral nervous system, blood system, and kidney damage. It also impacts the brain in the children. It is also causing effects on kidneys. And the cadmium, it is present in chip resistors and semiconductors. What is it causing? It's causing irreversible effects on human health. For example, it's getting accumulated in kidney and liver, and it is also causing neural damage, especially for kids below 12 years of age. And there's mercury. Mercury is one of the dangerous metals, and if it is used beyond a permitted concentration, it is causing damage to the brain. And it is highly heavily used in relays. It is also used in printed switchboards. And chromium. Chromium is used in galvanized steel plates, hardener for steel housing, and it causes bronchitis. It also has brominated flame retardants. These disrupt the endocrine systems. And the plastics and PVCs, we know it is, reproductive disorders are on a surge these days. A lot of IVF centers are, coming up like mushrooming across the city, not just in the metros, but also in tier 2 and tier 3 towns. Why is it happening? It is because of the impact of plastics and PVCs that is present. It produces dioxins, and it is disrupting the reproductive and causing developmental disorders. The barium, phosphorus, and heavy metals, which is present in the front panels of cathode ray tubes, is causing muscle weakness. It's damaging the heart, liver, and also spleen. Well, copper. Copper is present in copper wires, printed circuit board tracks, and it's creating stomach cramps, nausea, Wilson's disease, and so many other things. And nickel cadmium batteries are also picking up these days. They're one of the trending things right now, and they're causing allergy to the skin. It's creating lung it's resulting in a lot of asthma cases as well. And lithium ion batteries, again, this is one of the most dangerous things. And lithium is one material that can be recycled. However, because of our negligence, it's entering the landfill, and it is making its way, it is leaching into the groundwater, it is leaching into the regular water streams, and is impacting the breast milk. Breast milk is supposed to be packed with nutrients. It's the power punch of that's the best food that can be given to a baby. And now breast milk has lithium, and it is also causing lung edema. Well, there is a lot of lots of research that has gone into it, and the amount of harm that the e-waste is causing in the current and the future generations is just unimaginable. So this is one kind of waste that we can very well tackle it. It's just some consciousness that has to come into us to help us tackle the e-waste. It is very much doable. And did you know 1 ton of mobile phones can produce 130 kilograms of copper, 3.5 kilograms of silver, and 0.14 kg of palladium, and 0.35 kilograms of gold. If you think 1 ton of mobile phones can produce so much, so many valuable, crucial metals, they're all called critical elements. Without this, most of your electronics or your medical equipment, all this can't be built. If you think this is a rich source of extracting all these metals, why would you think of clearing forests, ripping apart the planet, and extracting an ore, opting for virgin ores and extracting the metals? So this is one strong reason why you should definitely collect all your e-waste and not hoard it at your homes, but give it to a proper recycler. And again, this is an interesting fact. The amount of gold recovered from 1 ton of e-waste from personal computers is more than that recovered from 17 tons of gold. So that's what I'm saying. 1 ton of e-waste is much richer than 1 ton of virgin gold ore. Also, once the metals are used in any electronic equipment, it is said that the efficiency of the metals is much higher when you reuse them. Well, like any other sustainability talk, like any other waste, it could be plastic waste, it could be biomedical waste, it could be any other waste. This e-waste can also be handled with 5R principles. So before I go into how you can reduce your electronic waste, I would like to bring to your notice some alarming facts about recycling centers. Do you know which place in the world is called the electronic graveyard of the world? You can type your answers in the chat. No, not India, not California yet. See, there is one very beautiful thing. Though USA is one of the second most top producers of e-waste, they don't hoard any e-waste. It is dumped into the developing nations. Africa. Africa is one, in fact, the lowest producer of e-waste. The right answer is China. So China sees a lot of e-waste imports into the country. There are a lot of conventions that are governing the management and transportation of electronic waste, though there is this place, Guizhou in China. It is very closer to the sea, and they see a lot of imports into China. And the kind of e-waste recycling that's happening in Guizhou, it is called the electronic graveyard of the world. Graveyard because it employs all kinds of what do you say, unscientific methods of extraction, unscientific methods of processing the waste. They use acids, they use smelting, they use acids to dissolve the precious metals, and in fact improper burning of these, there are no incinerators, they just burn in open, and the kind of toxins that are being produced, you can see a lot of bone cancers and lung cancers in that city of Guizhou. um, and the surrounding sea and the surrounding water bodies are full of mercury. You can see hordes of fish dying in the lakes, and the people who consume the marine food are also subject to a lot of endemic diseases. It's very heartening. I mean, it's very touching to see. You just go Google Guizhou in China and see the kind of images it brings in. There are kids, and there is a lot of women, and there are youth who are employed in dissolving electronic waste unscientifically, and this is creating not just environmental hazard but also health hazard. They just get like 15 or 20 rupees per segregating 1 kilogram of e-waste, and the kind of health burden that they're absorbing by for working in such dump yards is really heartening to see. So every time you buy a gadget, you imagine they look very fancy in your homes. That's fine, but at the end of its life cycle, where do these electronic waste actually enter? Where do they end up? You just recollect the first photograph that we have seen, and they actually end up in a landfill like that. And what can we do to tackle e-waste? See, e-waste is just 2.7% of electronic waste amongst all the kinds of waste that is produced globally. But it is creating hell lot of health issues and environmental hazards. So what can we do? You can reduce, you lower the consumption of electronic gadgets. For example, opt for one gadget that can do multiple things for you. I don't want to name brands or objects in specific, but but I understand that you get it. You want a music player, you want to buy a separate music player. You want a watch that tracks your steps, you will buy another gadget for it. Rather, buy something that will have all these features. I am not saying just give away your electronic gadgets or do not buy anything new. But while you buy, please be a conscious consumer. Please make conscious decisions. If you think, I mean, it's very attractive, it's very lucrative if you walk into a nice electronic store and you get tempted with so many offers in there. You get tempted with the kind of new things that have come up with. But please think, if you really need them, and if there is one gadget that can do the function of many gadgets, please opt for one such gadget. Also, reuse. Use the same thing again and again for multiple purposes. And if a certain electronic appliance is not in use, please turn off the power source, because it will increase the durability of the particular item. For example, in most of our offices, we leave the desk, we leave the desk without switching off the computer. We come back, just move the mouse, and again start doing our work. But instead, if you just put it in a sleep mode, or if you shut it down, it conserves a lot of energy. Also, it kind of improve the durability of the material. Right now, the manufacturer is also of this mindset that they want to release a new technology very often. every 3 months or every 4 months there is a newer version, newer technology, and also the repair options or the durability of a particular product is very, very less. They don't come with any modular features. If you think, for example, the display of your phone is gone, you go to get a display fixed, he will say it will cost almost, the cost of the same phone. Rather, when you start buying products, please see if the longevity of the product is more, if any hazardous elements are being used in that product, um, and see if you can use recycled products, repurposed products, and refuse products which create harm to the environment. A lot of our electronic waste, for example, personal computers, mainly laptops, can be refurbished with a little here and there, and then you can donate it to a charity. Probably you don't want to use it, but you give it to a school or you give it to anybody else who can use it. This will, 60% of the recyclers make money by refurbishing the products. So instead of discarding it, you can refurbish, repurpose, and reuse it. And a lot of DIY exhibitions on electronic art are coming up. For example, you must have seen the recent one in Gurgaon. The kind of beautiful artifacts and the kind of beautiful DIY art that is being made out of e-waste is simply superb. You can, just buy such artifacts. You can buy something that'll last for a longer time rather than, ending up in the landfills. Well, if e-waste is a problem that is so grave, and if you and I can collectively contribute to lessening the effect of e-waste, we can begin with simple initiatives. For example, I have named my initiatives as Please. P stands for knowing a product's life cycle. If you think a product's life cycle is not that great, do not opt for it. Do not buy a product whose product life cycle is very less. Please do a little research. Please talk. Please get to know about the product. It's not about money, not just about money, but also to know where you're investing. If you think your product's life cycle is not very long, please do not opt for such a product, and move from compulsiveness to consciousness. Please set targets on or limit yourself onto using the number of electronic gadgets that you have at your home. For example, you might be having a watch, you might be having a music player, you might be having a phone, a tablet, a computer, a laptop, so many other things. Just do not buy compulsively. Once you enter a store, they're very attractively packaged, and they're very the display and all is very attractive, but please don't just get carried away. Take a moment, think. If you really need it, only then you buy it. And check for environmental seal. In refrigerators and air conditioners especially, you have these Bureau of Energy Efficiency seals on it. If you think there is an environmental seal, please buy such products. Also, spread awareness. See, e-waste, even if you look at the global statistics, Europe is able to garner only 54% of recycling rates just because there is lack of awareness. If you think you can spread word about e-waste and its toxic effects on the human health, a lot of people, I'm sure, in your own close inner circle will say, I will save these electronics and not put it in the regular trash bin, but give it to a responsible recycler. Well, dispose e-waste through right channel. Now it is very much important that you dispose your e-waste by choosing a proper recycler. What do I mean when I say proper recycler? See, in India, 85% of the e-waste recycling is happening through informal channels. That means we give it to our regular scrap pickers. We give it to our regular 85% is happening informally, means that they are not employing any kinds of scientific extraction methods. They are causing the harm to environment as well as to themselves. So CPCB has recently released rules saying that every recycler has to register with CPCB, the Central Pollution Control Board. The e-waste management rules of 2022 enlist every producer, manufacturer, recycler to register with CPCB. And with this move, government largely aims at bringing most of the recyclers into the formal recycling system. So check for a recycler who is registered with CPCB and only then deposit your waste with them. Also, I must say, there are a few recyclers who are remunerating for the kind of e-waste that you generate. So ultimately, save our health and save the planet. So if I just want to reiterate, use this technique, please, when you look at the electronic, consumption. Please move from compulsiveness to consciousness whenever you buy, and look at the life cycle of a product. Look for environmental seal. Also bring awareness amongst the people around you, and segregate and dispose e-waste responsibly. Be aware of our own actions, and let's handle e-waste responsibly. Also, I want to share a little of my experience, hands-on experience with e-waste. We have been doing a lot of electronic waste drives. We started off with educational institutions. We launched it in Narayanamma College of Engineering and Technology. That was a huge hit. E-waste is usually placed in yellow bins. Okay, the demarcated color for e-waste is yellow bins. So we place these yellow bins there and we collect e-waste. And it's very interesting to see that not just, uh, there's a lot of response from other colleges asking us to do sessions with them, because initially we thought probably once in a month we have to arrange for an e-waste pickup with the recycler. We are tied up with the recycler. We are tied up with Recycle. We're tied up with EnviroCare. And we also arranged for a factory visit. We took them through how the e-waste recycling actually happens. So they were very excited. And the amount of e-waste right now is filling up as, it has increased. Earlier, we thought once a month a pickup is enough, but now once in 2 weeks it's getting filled. And this prompted us to go to corporates. Corporates again have a fixed policy of refurbishment once every 2 years or 3 years. Like each company has its own policy. They refurbish, they, go for new assets, and most of this assets that they give away can be refurbished. In fact, 80% of them can be refurbished, and we have adopted few government schools, and this all the electronics, especially computers, etc., are being directed to our happy schools, which are government adopted schools in urban areas. So uh, it has been very satisfying. Even recently in Secunderabad Club, we have picked up 64 assets from them, and we kind of raise funds also. So the recycler remunerates for the kind of e-waste that he collects. So this is the little work that we have done. If you think you can do something about e-waste, see, the session is all about having at least few key takeaways. One is, please do not throw the e-waste in your regular trash bins. Google for nearest recycler. And if you're in Hyderabad, please get in touch with us. We can collaborate and do something more beyond the household levels. And I must tell you that 60% of e-waste in India comes from public and the private industry. Households contribute about 15%, and the rest is by all the miscellaneous sectors. So you and I can collectively definitely do a lot in tackling e-waste. And as Robert Swan said, the greatest threat to a planet is the belief that someone else will save it. So if you have joined in this talk, I'm sure each one of you have that urge to do something about e-waste. So let's join our hands together for a big round of applause for all the participants who are joined. And looking forward to some concrete efforts in this space. Thank you, Radhika. Thank you, WishwaTalks, for inviting me on this.
Thank you, ma'am, for this incredible session and for enlightening us about the dangers of e-waste and importance of recycling e-waste. So before we move on to Q&A, I would like to request the audience to take a 30 seconds to answer a poll. The purpose of the poll is to help us understand you a little better so that we can better curate the topics that we bring to you. You can also let us know in the chat box how you found out about WishwaTalks. Are you a WishwaTalk subscriber or heard it through your friends or family? So I would like to express my gratitude to everybody who has joined us for today's talk. And with their presence, and let us make this interactive in the Q&A session. And I would like to extend my gratitude to our respected speaker, Ms. Jane Padmaja, and over to Srivani ma'am to take on the Q&A session further. Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Ms. Padmaja, that was a fantastic talk. Coming from an affluent family, I see children, cousins. Oh, we bought the latest iPhone. Oh, the next iPhone comes in a year. Again, we bought the latest iPhone. And it's showed off, as if it's something great. And such a simple talk from a simple speaker. And it shows how unconscious we are to what we're doing. It did not even occur to me that the impact of this unconscious nature that is dwelling within our own families. Thank you so much, Ms. Padmaja, for giving us an insightful talk, a talk which simply says how we can handle such a grave situation that the world is facing. Since you've asked us about e-waste, I wanted to share on behalf of Vishwa something. I wanted to make a request to the participants. Vishwa does a lot of work with schools on computer training and with slums. Radhika, is it possible to put the...
Yes, we are sharing the screen.
Yeah. So my request right now to all the participants, for those of you who have any old laptops or tablets, we are training young students, 10th class, 12th class, and degree students in computers. And these people, they're passed out of degree, but they don't know how to write an email, how to write a letter, how to work on an Excel sheet, how to work on a doc, or how to use ChatGPT, or how to use the social media. So we've been doing this kind of a training to make them ready to get jobs. My request right now is for those of you who are interested in donating your old laptops from yourself or your family, please raise your hands in the chat box. Just give your names. Our people will reach out to you. I'll take 30 seconds for this. Even if it's a spoiled laptop, if anybody has, please do share it. We will get it refurbished. Radhika, do you have any testimonials of the people who the classes have been done with?
Yeah, I'm checking.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sain. That was very generous of you to share your interest in donating a laptop. Now we'll go to our question and answer session. First question is from Mr. Shmel. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Please unmute yourself, Shmel. Until then, there's a question from A.N. Chavanji. How to become a registered recycler in Pune? Any advice?
Now I unmuted. Now I unmuted. Okay, I can ask. Okay, thank you. I want firstly a very interesting presentation, and I want to ask next question. How, according to your opinion, recycle and reusing e-waste can support improvement well-being of poor and low-income groups of population.
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, I asked how recycling of e-waste can support improvement well-being of poor and low socioeconomic groups of population.
Did you understand, Padmaja?
Yes. I guess you wanted to understand how recycling can help the underprivileged class of the population, right, sir?
Yeah, of course. This question.
So, as ma'am just said, if you can recycle and refurbish the assets that you have, there are a lot of modular gadgets at home. For example, our laptops or personal computers. If one of the component goes off, you can just fix that particular component, refurbish and give it back to charity. You can give it back to schools. You can give it back to educational institutions. It's very alarming to know that the government schools right now largely run on technology. Most of their attendance and the syllabus is most of that is computerized. But one of the government school teachers was telling us that even the headmaster doesn't have one computer. So if we can give back all these assets, at least see, every mandal has at least 20 to 30 schools, depending on the region. I am quoting Telangana. So if at least the headmaster gets one computer, it does a large good to the school. So definitely refurbished assets bring in a lot of help to the underprivileged classes. I hope it answers your question, sir.
Yes. Shmel, unmute, please. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. This answered my question. Thank you very much.
How many computers are you sending us from Israel to Vishwa? Old computers.
Yeah. In Israel too, we are think about and our government think about different programs, how to reuse and recycle e-waste and another types of waste.
Donate one computer to Vishwa. I'm coming to Israel on 18th April. I will pick it up.
Great.
Okay, thank you. So coming over to the next question, Prasad Surupaneni. Do you feel that Mr. Prasad Surupaneni's question, do you feel that the Electronic Waste Management Act 2003, which is declared a law comprehensive, does it address the procedural issues of disposal, the dangers of the hazardous waste leaching into groundwater soil, and sufficient deterrent, penal action? What about the disorganized sector where lakhs of illiterate children are exposed to hazards while collecting and segregating?
Well, that was a very lengthy question, but I understand where you're coming from. See, we have progressed from e-waste management rules 2011 to 2016, 2018, and now 2022. So what have we done in this? The recent act says all the recyclers, manufacturers, producers are required to register with CPCB. because the one most important reason is that it will legalize the recyclers, and it will also bring better formal recycling practices. So it will also, there is penalties, right from fines. It will even lead to imprisonment. If you think a recycler can follow, is registered with CPCB, he will definitely follow all the scientific methods of extraction and hence reduce the environmental impact. So it is expected that the electronic waste rules of 2022 largely help formalize the sector, because right now 85% of recycling in India is happening in the informal sector. And this policy as such is aimed at formalizing the sector. Also, there are clauses like extended producer responsibility. And there are recycling targets given for every producer, manufacturer. And it is not enough if he just sells an electronic product. The producer himself is responsible for the end of the life of that particular product. So all these issues will definitely help in streamlining the e-waste process, rather e-waste recycling practices in India. So in future, if this law is, for any law, the devil lies in its implementation. If the law is implemented as per the stipulations, it will definitely bring a lot of formalization in the sector, and the kind of hazards that we are seeing will definitely go down.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question. When you said CP, can you give us the full form of it?
Yeah, CPCB stands for Central Pollution Control Board.
Okay. Mr. A.N. Chavan's question, how to become registered recycler in Pune?
So you want to start a recycling unit, or you want to associate with a recycler?
Would you like to come online and to ask your question, Mr. Chavan? Until then, we'll go to our next question.
Chaman replied that he wants to start a new unit.
Okay, if you want to start a unit, there is a portal that is started by the Government of India. You can Google for the portal, or you can get in touch with me offline. I will share the exact links with you. You have to register yourself in that portal, and it has a lot of guidelines on how to do it and how you can do it, where this unit has to be placed, and the volume of waste that your unit can handle. There are a lot of other things. I think we can take that offline.
I think this question is already answered, but Lavanya has asked the question, how e-waste can help support underprivileged?
Yeah, in many ways. If you want to give away your mobile phone, it will help someone with communication and network. And if you have a used laptop, it can help them in their educational needs, in their professional needs, in their vocational training. For someone who is in a remote place and who cannot travel to city regularly, but want to take coaching classes, be it skill development, anything. I mean, technology is magical, so it depends on how you use it and what kind of gadget you're giving it to the underprivileged. Depending on his need, it will definitely help them.
Okay. This is from Lavanya again. With an increase in the usage of technical gadgets, there should be a mandate to retire the gadgets as per their aging. What do you think of that? I thought we said the opposite, that the longevity of the product should be increased by the manufacturer.
Yes.
But she's saying, like they're saying, let's dispose the cars after a year or two or a few years in Delhi. What is your take on this?
See, if you optimally use a gadget, for example, old phones are said that the radiation levels are pretty high from old used gadgets, especially mobile phones. So if you think it is producing more harm, see, at the end of the day, a longevity of the product has to be increased as long as it helps you. as long as it supports you in whatever you do. But if you think it is not doing the right thing, you can definitely hand it over to a recycler who will look at the gadget and say, if this particular component is replaced, the radiation will come down and the life is increased. Or say he says it cannot, it cannot do its productive thing anymore. He will recycle it. He will dismantle it, extract whatever has to be extracted. See, the first option is definitely refurbish. If refurbish is not happening, they will recycle it.
So this is from Mr. Nehru Krishna. Does all the parts of the electronics are recycled and reused? And how e-waste management can be increased in India? Two different questions.
Well, most of the precious metals can be extracted. If you extract scientifically using the scientific processes, see right now, most of the recycling plants have robotic machinery that will help extract metals very efficiently. So it is said that 85 to 90% of metals can be recovered originally. Sorry, what's your second question?
How e-waste management can be increased in India?
See, India is made up of people like you and me. So if you think we can handle e-waste better, we have to, firstly, we should be willing to give away all the e-waste that is languishing in our homes, which is no more in use. A lot of precious items can be extracted and it can be put back into the circular economy. And the pressure on resources also comes down. So if you and I can take simple steps like this, register with a recycler and give our e-waste to that particular recycler, we are definitely doing our bit in handling the e-waste in the country.
For someone who I thought I was educated and all, I myself, I never hoard. I give away all the e-waste, but I didn't know what was the right way to give away. Thanks to you, ma'am, I'm going to follow what you suggested.
Nice.
Yeah. Mr. T. Anand Kumar has a question. Madam, if we start a new unit, what are the requirements, please? How much investment do we need?
I think I will, someone from the recycling industry can answer this question better. I have my friend. He can answer it. Sir, you can get in touch with me. So I have a dozen of recyclers who
Is
have
it possible for you to call them and put them on a speaker?
Let me check.
Mr. Madhu Ganesh, your question is not legible to me. If you want to raise your hand, you can raise your hand and ask.
He hasn't answered. I will text him.
Yeah.
If before the end of the session he calls back, we can have him on speaker.
Sure. Okay, I'll just close this session and we can continue the session after the question answer session. After we close the session, I would like to talk about the upcoming WishwaTalks. Art and culture, topic navigating the upcoming mental pandemic. Speaker Dr. Manoj Kuryakos is a very famous homeopathic physician and researcher. He's having this talk on March 23rd, 2024 at 11 a.m. The next topic after that is by Sita Anand Vaidyam, Miss Sita Anand Vaidyam. It's on impact of music on the brain development. Founder Ananda Foundation, March 30th, 2024, 11 a.m. With this, we are closing the WishwaTalks. And thank you so much to all the participants. It's just not the speaker who's inspiring, but each of you who, when you join us and you engage and you ask questions, who bring life to WishwaTalks and to the WishwaTalks team, who put in their heart and soul into this program and work towards it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
with this, we will next go on to the question answer session. Can an e-start, this is Dr. Madhu Ganesh. I'm assuming the question is, can a startup or a business on e-waste is it lucrative? Yeah, sir, can you ask it yourself? Because I couldn't follow what you're asking.
Yeah, thank you. In Bangalore, can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Very clear.
Yeah, good morning to you all.
Mhm.
Thank you, Shivani madam. It's nice to talk to you. I have one laptop I'll give you.
How
I
sweet.
was in Hyderabad for 6 months. Okay. Thank you, Padmaja. It was a nice follow through of what you have mentioned. I'm associated in two such public forums here. As a chemist, I know that there are two techniques, hydrometallurgy and pyrometallurgy. But then I keep asking the questions. I asking the questions to this Derby Foundation and many other startups here. So, what is the technology readiness level, manufacturing readiness level, investment readiness level? I think to summarize, I think some participants have already asked. So it would be nice, from the perspective of our young entrepreneurs who wants to make a career in recycling, how they should approach, because the need of the hour is that the investment which the investors are putting, it should be held responsible and returns are possible. It's such a massive uh, the e-waste that is generated in India. I think it should be possible. So any thoughts on this? I think that's all, and I'll I'll talk to you, Shiva madam, on the back channel. I keep coming to Hyderabad, and if you come to Bangalore, we can meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Madhu. I'll share my insights on right now, the upcoming trend in Hyderabad is definitely setting up e-waste recycling units. The T-Hub, if you see, has a lot of startups working in this space. If the government is looking at formalizing 85% of the unorganized sector into electronic waste, it itself shows the amount of potential that this has. If I have to quote you the right figures, the market value of electronic waste right now is valued at $49,880 million. So you can imagine the kind of potential this sector has. And I mean, a lot of the initial recyclers that we worked with are started their journey from T-Hub. Now they have their own recycling plans, in the outskirts of the city. For example, EnviroCare, they have a beautiful plant located in Shamshabad. So the initial investment with land is not very high. You need to it depends, of course, on the volume of e-waste that you want to handle. It is mainly the robotic machinery that will be the major investments. Apart from that, you need to have a stringent quality control team. You need to invest in manpower who passionately do the quality checks, and a recycler's 70% revenues come from refurbishment. So most of our electronics we think that are actually useless are not useless. They can be refurbished. There are modular components in the gadgets that can be replaced, refurbished, and reused. So definitely it is lucrative, sir, if you look at the market value right now. And government itself want to formalize this sector. So definitely there is a lot of support in that as well. But how much initial investment you need, I have to, connect you to my recycler friend. Even I don't have much insights into how much investment you really need to start a unit.
We'll check it out and we'll send him the details.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What about the plastic waste generated? Ms. Aba Ajay Telang.
You mean the plastic waste generated out of the electronic waste?
How do we recycle it? What do you advise?
No, you don't have to separate anything from e-waste as a plastic thing or a metallic waste. That's what I'm saying. You give it to your recycler. All your electronic gadgets on an average contain 21% of plastic waste. If you give it to them, they try and refurbish. That is the first step. If not, they shred it into small components. They shred it into small pieces and send it as a input material to another industry that requires it. So that is how the plastic is used.
This is okay. Thank you. Next question is from Mr. Ravi Shankar, Jharkhand. Can you please share any recycler in Jharkhand or Eastern India?
So you can just Google them. You can find Central Pollution Control Board registered recyclers. If not, I can help you find someone and letting you know. But it is very simple. Just research, Google. The very thought that it has occurred to you that you need to get in touch with a recycler. That's a brilliant idea. But look to whom, to which recycler you're handing it over. Just Google government authorized sites contain list of recyclers. I can share that list with you, Pan India e-waste recyclers list, but that might not be updated. You can search Google in your own areas.
Now that you have mentioned this, ma'am, I wanted to tell you that Vishwa is doing a campaign. It does a campaign twice a year on Diwali and Ugadi. So Ugadi is coming on April 9th, if I'm not wrong. And any of you who have any waste at home, just give a call or a WhatsApp message to Vishwa. We will come and collect it at the weekend. Throughout the week, you send us a message, we'll come and collect it.
Awesome. Donation at doorstep.
Okay. Next question is from Nehru, Mr. Nehru Krishna. Would you like to ask your question yourself? Because I'm not sure if I can read it right. How about e-waste can be recycled and reused by the manufacturers of producers? It may reduce the separate unit need to started by someone who are not aware, but the producers know how it can be done. So it will be easy enough. So I think he's just repeating what you are saying. The recyclers will know better. Okay. It was a wonderful session, ma'am. With this, we will close the session. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the participants. And thank you to the WishwaTalks.